welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to this episode. This is Jemi Naftali on the pediatric world. This is the name of the channel because the channel is all about the kids' welfare, the medical problems, and we also want to find solutions. So we want to put all of you into management of these babies. We want to give the best to our babies, to our children. So that's why we want to understand the common illnesses affecting these children. Welcome to this episode. So in today's episode, we are going to do a very common disease, and this is malaria in children. This is very common. It's a common illness in children, and everybody knows about malaria. So this is what we'll be covering here. And in this episode, we want to understand malaria. We want to know the classification. How is the malaria classified? What are the clinical signs and symptoms of malaria in children? How do these children present when they have malaria? We want to know the treatment, how to go about treating this malaria. And in the end, we shall have the summary of everything. So, without wasting time, let's go to the introduction of malaria. To start with, malaria is still the leading cause of death in sub-Saharan Africa. Imagine, it really causes a lot of deaths if care is not taken and presumptive treatment not taken. So we are saying it is the leading cause of death in sub-Saharan Africa. And this causes 500,000 deaths in under 5s, and this is annually, every year. Imagine, this is how serious malaria is, that approximately 500,000 deaths, the mortality, the deaths of children is seen due to malaria. And we are saying commonly in under 5s, these children that are below 5 years. It is this serious. And severe malaria is most frequent in children. We are going to see the classification, and we have one called the severe malaria, and again it is common in those children that are below 5 years of age. After which most kids, that is after the 5 years, most kids will have developed clinical immunity against malaria. What are we saying here? We are saying why these babies are mostly affected, the under 5s. It's because at below 5 years, their immunity is not yet strong. But after 5 years, they are able to gain the immunity in their bodies to fight against these severe forms of malaria. This was just an overview of what malaria, how it does. And let's go to classification. We have two common types of malaria, not types but classifications. We have just the malaria. We have the second one, which is the interest is mostly here. We have something we call severe malaria. And severe malaria is also called the complicated malaria. It is more complicated than just malaria. And we have an example of cerebral malaria. So cerebral malaria is a form of severe malaria. So how then do we differentiate? When do we say that this baby has malaria and this other one has got severe malaria? So if a high quality blood slide is negative, but we have signs of severe malaria, then treatment should start immediately for severe malaria, even if the high quality blood slide turns to be negative, and then the babies and the children get these signs of severe malaria. So then what is severe malaria? How do these children with severe malaria present? So number one, for you to say this is severe malaria, the complicated malaria, there has to be fever. Fever is hotness of the body, and we are talking of even up to 40 degrees Celsius at the temperatures. So we have to have fever plus number one, AVPU less than A. Remember our AVPU. This we said it's the scale that we use to assess the level of consciousness in children. So AVPU below A, remember we said A is for alertness, V for response to voice, P, response to pain if you charge, and U for unconsciousness. So if you have hotness of the body and plus now the AVPU less than A, this child is not alert, this child is not responsive to voice, no response to pain, and the child is unconscious. They are in coma. This is non-responsiveness. So this is one clinical sign and symptom of severe malaria. So then we say we have this is a sign of severe malaria. That is number one. Another clinical presentation, if we have fever again, if we have hotness of the body, and on top we also have inability to drink or breastfeed. So the child is not able to breastfeed, and if they are bigger children, they are not able to drink. So, and on top we have fever. This is another sign and symptom of a severe malaria. We also have something we call another clinical presentation is fever again. There has to be hotness of the body again, and on top we have something we call respiratory distress. So this we said somewhere, and respiratory distress is breathing difficulties. And if we have breathing difficulties, then and on top we have fever, it's a sign of severe malaria in children. Another clinical sign and symptom, it's if we have fever again, we have fever and we have acidotic breathing. This is more of what we have said of breathing difficulties, breathing. This again, we say this is a sign and symptom of cerebral malaria. If we also have severe anemia, what is anemia? Anemia is low blood levels. And if we say there is anemia, if the HB is what? The hemoglobin level, if it is below 5 grams per deciliter, we normally measure in grams per deciliter. So we say it is low, and it is low if it is less than 5 grams per deciliter. Please remember this, because this is a common another way. If we see this, and this is what we are calling severe anemia, and we are saying severe anemia of less than 5 grams per deciliter plus hotness of the body, which is fever. Again, this most likely to have severe malaria here. So this is it. This is what we are saying. This is a severe anemia. So something to say, another point to say is that in absence of lab results, if you do not have the blood slide for the BS, this is the blood sample for the malaria parasites. If you do not have this, and we have palmar pala. So what is a palmar pala? This is the palm. This part of the hand is what we call the palm. So pala is a way of assessing if we have anemia. So pala is if this part is so white. So normally it should be red. It should be red. When you try to do this, it is red, and you're able to see that this child has got enough blood. It's just a way of assessing anemia, and we call it pala. So if this is the palm, so that is why we are calling it palmar pala. So if the palm has got pala, it is white. So, and we do not have any lab result of the malaria. So we can also consider this to be severe anemia and a symptom of severe malaria. I hope this is very clear. Another sign and symptom of severe malaria is if we have fever, again, the hotness of the body, and plus hypoglycemia. So remember our last, we just finished our topic on hypoglycemia. If you haven't watched, please go back to the previous episode on hypoglycemia. These are low blood sugar levels, and we are saying that if the child has got less than 2.5 millimoles per liter of the blood sugar, if the blood sugar level is below 2.5 millimoles per liter, and on top we have fever, we have hotness of the body, again this can show us that we are most probably having severe malaria. It's a clinical presentation in severe malaria. So this is it. Another last sign and symptom of malaria is again fever, and if the child on top has got more than 2 conversions. So conversions and fevers again are signs and symptoms of severe malaria. Remember the conversions again, we did conversions, the seizures, remember the fits, the tremors. Go back to the previous episodes. So we are saying again, fever and more than 2 conversions in a child could be a sign and symptom of severe malaria. So I hope this is clear. You now know the classifications. You know the severe malaria and what we mean when we say a child has severe malaria and not just malaria. So we are going to reach here for today so that we go bit by bit and people can understand. This is a common illness again. It's a common thing we have everywhere, and we are saying it is a common cause of mortality. We are saying many babies, many children are dying because of this severe malaria. And we do not want this. We don't want to lose these children. So we want to create the awareness here in this episode. People to try and understand, even the caregivers and the mothers, to be part of this, the management of these babies. So thank you so much, my people, for tuning in. Thank you for listening to me. If you haven't subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button, the red button. Subscribe. Share these videos widely so that many mothers, many people can reach them, and we want to be of help to these mothers wanting to create the awareness. Again, leave a comment down on the comment section. Anything, any clarification. In the end of every of my video, I normally give out my email. If you can slide into my email and ask anything that you feel is of concern. Again, turn on your notifications so that you are among the first people to know every time I'm posting a new video here. Thank you, my people. Till next time.